Welcome back to another tutorial. Today we are going to talk about how to simply create a composite shot in Photoshop. My name is Anja Burgar, I'm a food photographer and I'm here to teach you tips and tricks to improve your food photography. There's a number of reasons why you would do a composite shot in food photography. And there's also a lot of tools involved in post-processing when you're doing composite shots. But today we're going to focus on a very simple method of doing a very simple composite shot. We are going to go through an example of a gathering image, of an image of breakfast with lots of elements, and I'm going to walk you through a few different reasons why you would even do a composite shot. So you could do a composite shot whenever you have hands in the frame and you don't have any spare hands to use, so you can only use your own hands, and then you could just try and place them in different positions and do a composite later in Photoshop. The other easy way to do a composite shot is when you don't have enough props. So when you want to use the same plate or the same bowl or the same glass or something multiple times, but you don't have multiple items of the same items. So then you could easily just move those items across your scene and do a couple of shots and then do composite later on again in Photoshop. You could do the same involving food. So let's say you went out shopping, you bought a ton of food, but then you forgot to buy enough strawberries. I was just shooting strawberries, so strawberries came to my mind. Then you could use composite shots to kind of add those, add a little bit more strawberries in your frame. Then again, if you're using artificial light and you only have one light, but you want to do a scene where you actually need more lights, you could also do a composites based on different lighting of your image. It might take a little more to do a composite shot, and we're not gonna focus on this today, just to give you some ideas of when to use composites. And of course, if you're doing lots of commercial photography where there's larger scenes, lots of light, special effects and so on, then knowing how to do composites is really essential. Of course, in these kinds of images, besides the tools that we're going to use today, you're going to need a broader knowledge of Photoshop. But yeah, for a very simple scene, this is a really quick and easy way to do a composite. There's a number of things you should consider before even taking a photo, and I was talking about a lot of that in my splash video, and I'll put a link in the description down below in case you want to see that. Okay, so today we're going to do two different composites in Photoshop. For the first composite, we're going to do a breakfast scene where there are multiple things in the scene, and I wanted it to be like a gathering in the morning with many people, like with a family. But the problem was that there was just me in the room. So I used my own hands to make it look like there are actually many people there. One thing to be careful if you're doing a composite with hands is that if you're wearing a sweater or a shirt or something, make sure that not all of these hands have the same shirt. Either move the sleeve or change the shirt. So we're gonna start with opening this first image with no hands in Photoshop, and like here, and then layer these images with hands on top. So why, let's move the first one and I'll explain. So why did I take a photo of an image without any hands? It's just a simple way to make sure that everything is in place. So I'm not sure that I'm gonna be using this first hand where everything seems to be actually the same besides the hand. So I'm not sure if I'm gonna be using this hand in the end photo, and that's why I wanted to have this kind of a buffer, so I know that I can use this photo if I need to. If I'm not using this hand. Okay, so this is the first hand. We're not gonna do anything right now. Let's open the second hand. I just drag and dropping it in the Photoshop. So the hand is now here, but there's no hand here, right? That's because I placed an image on top of that first image with the hand. So what I do right now is I select this layer with the second hand, and then I go down here to layer mask, click on it, and it will immediately add a layer mask to my layer with this hand. So now it's white, but which means that the entire image is visible. And now I'm gonna invert it, which will make it black, and now the whole image is not visible. But I want to have just that hand here, which was here, visible, and we'll do this by selecting a brush. Make sure it's at 100% opacity. Choose a white brush, a completely white brush. Make sure it's completely white. And then I'm just gonna brush over where the hand was, making sure that if any crease here changed, I'm gonna make it, use it from that photo with the hand. And also if there are some shadows, I'm making sure that it all looks great. And that's basically it. Now we're gonna do the same with the other two photos with hands in different positions. So there was a hand here next to the granola. We're gonna do the same. We're gonna select this layer here, select the layer mask, which will make it a white layer, and then invert it. You invert it by pressing Ctrl+C if I haven't mentioned it yet. And then we have our brush, which is on white and 100%. And again, we're just gonna brush all over, making sure that everything looks nice. Here's a little bit of a shadow from the hand, which looks more natural, so I'll edit it in. Okay, and then we do the same thing with the last photo. In this last photo, I moved the knife, and I think I moved a couple of things here, so we're gonna see how we can edit that. So we have this layer selected, we pick the layer mask, we invert it, and then we just draw over where my hand was, making sure the shadows look okay. So we're gonna remove this knife, and also there are some things moved, like this nectarine, this plant here. Okay, so I'm just actually drawing with a white brush until everything looks great, and that's it. So now you see that the white parts are actually the visible parts of the images, and now I can remove one hand. The only hand I haven't actually used a mask is this one here, just because I have the original image under that, so I don't have to brush over this one. But in fact, I like all of these hands. It looks quite nice right now, so I'm just gonna leave it as is, but you can play around with using as many hands as you want. For the second edit, I wanted to show you how you could use making composites if you don't have enough props. Like, for example, I have this table scene here again, but I included a chair here and here, and I only have one chair that looks like this, appropriate for this table. And in fact, this chair is actually broken, so I think I need to repair it. But nevertheless, I opened these two images in Photoshop. I stacked it on top of one another, so these are the two images, and then I'm just gonna select the top image here. I'm gonna again pick the layer mask. Now it's white. I'm gonna invert it, and I make sure I have the brush selected. It's completely white and it's 100% opacity. And now I'm just gonna brush over this area here so it will add that chair, which is from the second image. Just make sure I really brush all over. So now, before I had only one chair and now I have two chairs. And you could basically do the same if you only have one plate that's really beautiful but you want two of them and this kind of stuff. You could play around with creating composites. It's a really fun way to edit a photo. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Please let me know in the comments below. And also subscribe if you haven't already so you could see more videos in the future. And I'll see you all next time.